Hey everybody. Hello. I know it took me a little while to get this live going, but I am here. I I am here. Had to get my pajamas on. Hopefully I won't be too tired to read this. Unless I can get a volunteer. Where's JC at? Where's JC? Y'all hear the dog barking over here? The dog is going crazy barking. Okay. Looks like Diddy's defense team has decided to submit a motion. And guess what this motion is about? It's a motion for mistrial. Another motion for mistrial, and it's for prosecution misconduct. You know why? Because they knew this person was lying about a particular testimony, and they still let her come into and say it. And this is the testimony of Brianna. Remember the dangling person over the balcony? Remember that? They knew she was lying. They still kept it in there. Yep. They knew she was lying. They still kept it in there. Y'all, isn't this crazy? All right, let's go ahead on. And sound like Diddy's case, even if they convict him, it's going to be overturned. You know that, right? It's going to be absolutely overturned because the Superior Court has ruled on something like this before. So therefore, it is going to be overturned if it goes that far. All right, let's go ahead on and show it. Sound like Fulton County, huh? Sound like the Fulton County, right? Phenomenal mama. Yep, here we go. Here we go. Let's go. All right, let's go. Let me go back. And I'm just gonna read this part. Dear Judge Subarinian, the defense respectively submit this letter in support of its renewed motion for mistrial based on prosecutorial misconduct. When the introduction of purged testimony result in a criminal conviction, the prosecution knew or should have known of the perjury. The conviction must be set aside if there is any reasonable likelihood that the false testimony could have affected the judgment of the jury. United States versus Wallace. And then it says, moreover, the prosecutors knowing use of perjured testimony can violate the due process clause even if it only undermined the witness's credibility. United States versus Chromite. As the Supreme Court has explained, a lie is a lie, no matter what its subject and if it is in any way relevant to the case. The district attorney has the responsibility and duty to correct what he knows to be false. And to elicit the truth. Napbag versus Illinois. Okay, as explained below, in this trial, the government has presented testimony that it knew or should have known was materially false. related to its allegation that Mr. Combs dangled Brianna Boglan from the balcony of Cassie Ventura's apartment on September 2016. Accordingly, to avoid an unfair conviction in this case, the court should grant mistrial. The government contests the alleged balcony incident is relevant because it shows Mr. Combs' violence directed not only to Miss Ventura, but to other people around Miss Ventura. She she is aware that of this violence, and because of her awareness, it goes to coercion. Transcript 4430-31. The incident, as alleged, is disturbing and powerful evidence, and the government has used it to depict Mr. Combe as an extremely negative light, as an angry and dangerous man who terrified Miss Ventura and her friends. The prosecutors elicited evidence about this alleged allegation from both Miss Ventura and Miss Bongolan. That is demonstrably false in key respects. They then doubled down using this false testimony to obtain a ruling admitting inadmissible hearsay evidence about it as well, all to present a false narrative to the jury. The government started by eliciting testimony from Miss Ventura about the allegation that cannot be true. Miss Ventura said she actually saw Mr. Combe holding Miss Bangalan over the balcony railing. Transcript 802. I saw him bring her back over the railing of the balcony and then throw her into the patio furniture. Yet the prosecutors knew she had not actually seen what she described because they had in their possession a text conversation demonstrating that Miss Ventura was told about the alleged incident by another unidentified person. Hey, I just found out some crazy SHIT. I'm just finding out right now. Nonetheless, they allowed Miss Ventura to continue to insist on cross as she had witnessed this incident. Question. And you testify you saw him throw her onto the patio furniture, right? Yep. He brought her back over the balcony and he threw her down. She persisted in this story even after she was confronted by the text messages. Question. Isn't it true that you learned about the incident on the balcony after the fact? Answer. I saw what I saw, so I don't know. Question. Has the government in your preparation for the testimony in this case gone over this message with you? Answer. Not this one, no. Thus, the government the jury with left the jury with the false impression that Miss Ventura saw Mr. Combe dangling her friend over the balcony and that this made her fearful of him, when in fact, if there's any incident, Ventura merely heard about it afterward, considerably less than any probative value. I can't say that word. Probative, I can't say the word value as to her state of mind. Probative. There it is. Probative value. Next, the government doubled down by presenting perjured, Lord have mercy, I'm getting tongue tied this evening. Perjured testimony from Bangalon, intended to corroborate Ventura's false testimony. Bangalon claimed Combe lifted her up and held her feet on the balcony railing. And that, oh my God, transcript 4285-86. And that this caused injury to the back of her leg and back of her and back and neck pain. Transcript 4253. Bangalan was very definitive about these injuries and particularly the bruises on her leg, which was one of the details that stick out in her mind. Question: where did you go after you left Cassie's apartment? Answer: I went to my apartment. Question: what did you do at your apartment? Answer: I was shaking a lot, and then I wanted to take a shower because I felt disgusted. And then I looked over behind my leg and I see a huge bruise. Question: we'll talk about the bruises in just a moment. Miss Bangalan, do you remember all the details of the incident that night? Answer: no. Question: do the details that you talk about stick out in your mind? Answer: yes. Question: what, if any, physical injuries did you have as a result of that night? Answer: I had that big bruise, like it was like a piercing in the middle of it, and then I had back and neck pain. And transcript 4289. The government next introduced photographs of the injuries Miss Bangalong supposedly sustained at the hands of Mr. Combe, including GX3S-102A, a photo depicting the leg injury taken on September 26, 2016 at 9:45 a.m. Ms. Bangalan testified that she took the photos of the leg injury, around the time the incident in the exhibit. Transcript 4291. That she did so the same day as the incident, and that she got the injury from being thrown on the balcony furniture. Transcript 4290. On cross, she confirmed that the balcony incident happened early in the morning. That photo of the leg bruises was taken later that day. Transcript 4475. And that the injuries on her back and on her leg happened the same day. Transcript 4477. The government then introduced photos of the injuries supposedly sustained at the hands of Mr. Combs during the incident. The government knew, or should have known, this testimony was perjured, and that Ms. Bangalang could not possibly have been injured by Mr. Cohn on a Los Angeles balcony in early morning hours of September 26, or even the day before that. The government has long known that Mr. Cohn was on the East Coast in late September, specifically at around the time of this alleged incident. The government knew that he had stayed at Trump Hotel in New York City between September 24th through September 29th, 2016. In fact, the government had marked as GX7Y111. The records of this hotel stay, which are now in evidence and has had other evidence in its possession of this time, showing Mr. Combs' travel schedule, and provided that he was on the East Coast when it was told to the jury he dangled Miss Boglan over the balcony in front of Miss Ventura. All right. What's more than the defense began to expose the perjury on examination. The government repeatedly attempted to disrupt the cross-examination with unfounded objection and requests for defense counsel was testifying. Sorry. I gotta go back up. I messed up. Sidebars, transcript 4489, and unfounded claims as such that proper leading question meant defense counsel was testifying. Transcript 4482. Then, despite having elicited Ventura false testimony about having directly witnessed the alleged incident, the government persuaded the court to admit the hearsay text messages with K describing that Ventura had found out the alleged conduct. All this was highly improper and exaggerated the harm caused by suborning the perjured testimony. It bears emphasis that the use of the perjured testimony regarding the balcony incident is just one example of prosecutorial misconduct during this trial. The defense previously moved for a writ mistrial based on improper line of questioning related to the 2012 destruction of fingerprints provided by Scott M. to the LAPD. As the court will recall, the defense argued that the government's motive in eliciting this testimony was to create an unfounded and highly prejudicial inference that Mr. Combs somehow had corruptly arranged for the destruction of the fingerprint. The government claimed that it was not the purpose of this question, transcript 1902, and the court denied the motion, transcript 1903-04, and instead gave a narrow limited instruction. However, it became apparent shortly thereafter during the questioning of Mia that very next day that in fact the government's motive all along must have been to suggest that Mr. Combs had corrupt influence over the LA authorities when it tried to create the impression that he was responsible for the destruction of the fingerprints. Specifically, the government elicited testimony from Mia about two incidents in which LAPD did not issue a ticket for speeding after she was pulled over because the officer found out she worked for Mr. Combs. In one case, Mia got pulled over speeding, name drop for her that her boss was Mr. Combs, and got him on the phone, which after the officer was saying like, "Oh my God, Puff Daddy, I love you," just went into this whole very excited conversation, and then she let me go. Transcript 3345. The second time Combs was in the car, and once they saw Puff, they were like, "Oh my bad, yeah," and left us alone. Transcript 3346. The prosecutor took special care to emphasize that these incidents occur in Los Angeles. Transcript 3346. Question: What city did these interactions with the police occurred in? Answer: LA. These incidents in isolation seem like benign example of police giving lenient treatment to popular famous people, coupled with sinister implication of the fingerprint destruction. However, they created a strong implication that the reason Mia, and as the government will surely argue, other alleged victim didn't go to the police because of Mr. Combs' corrupt influence over the police and the LAPD particular. In other words, the subsequent questioning of Mia, even if itself permissible, further collaborated the that the improper I'm sorry, that the government's real purpose in this questioning of the fire inspector Lance Jimenez was to improperly suggest that Mr. Cohn corruptly caused the destruction of the fingerprint. This constitutes another instance that the prosecution of prosecutional misconduct. Accordingly, the court should grant the mistrial on prosecutional misconduct. Respectfully submitted, Alexandria A.E. Shapiro. Ooh. Oh my goodness, y'all. What do y'all think? What do you guys think? What do you guys think? Mm, mm, mm. I don't know why y'all try to enunciate stuff on this thing. I'm not looking at nothing you guys wrote in here. I am on a different page reading it. So y'all wasted your time putting the how to say the word on it. It's a waste of time. You know that, right? Because I was on another screen. I did not see nothing that you guys put in. So stop wasting your time. You don't think they're gonna get it? Hey Ashley. No, you wasn't trying to help me out, Tyler. You was putting it in there and it was not helping me out because I was not even looking on that page. So there was no help whatsoever. You said the judge is not fair. You don't think you'll grant it? Hey, podcast for the soul. How are you, darling? Thank you so much for this super chat. Thank you, darling. You must have been sleeping when you got this news. No, I was not sleeping. I am not cranky either. I'm just telling you. Why do you think I'm cranky? Because I'm just telling you I was not looking at what you put down, so I don't understand it. Why I got to be the one cranky? Why can't you be the one messy? Why can't it be you? Do you think this was on purpose to help throw the case out? Mimi? Thank you. Podcast for the soul. Same to you, honey. D- Mimi, it sounded like what the guy told me at the pizza parlor. Remember what the pizza parlor, that guy, what he said to me? Do you remember what he said? Do you remember what the guy said at the pizza parlor? Remember? He said, the guy at the pizza parlor says that, well, I don't believe it, no, the part about being paid, but he believed that the prosecutor was messing up the case on purpose. He said, he said that they're messing it on purpose. He believed they were being paid something like that. I don't believe that, but that's what the guy said at the pizza parlor. You think they will win? I agree with you, lovely. I agree with you, lovely. I'm talking about lovely. You said Diddy, you said I don't think they expect Steele and Westmoreland to come how they are. Exactly. Exactly. I agree with you. Because again, remember, Westmoreland is the one that caused the whole thing with the YSL. Remember that? It seemed like she causing it again. Seemed like she causing it again. No, I don't think the judge wanted to decide it himself. He wants it to be on the jury to be the one to make the decision. Yep. Mm. Oh, somebody just sent me some good stuff. Mm. Somebody send me some good stuff. Some good stuff. Oh, okay. All right. All right. Gotta get. I got to. Okay. All right, good people. Okay, good people. I'm about to get off this live because I got some good information I just got. I got to read it to myself. It's nothing to be shared on the internet. Nothing to be shared on the internet. But it's some good, juicy stuff, y'all. Cause some good, juicy stuff I just got. Ugh. Yeah, they definitely on that street. Lovely lady. I wonder how the judge is going to handle this part. Because the evidence they put in basically contradict what you get what I'm saying. The text message they put in themselves. I'm talking about the prosecution basically invalidate what the testimony both of their witness said. You know what I mean? They put the text message in there, and the text message said, "Oh, I just heard some crazy shit." She said it. I just heard some crazy. She didn't say I just saw some crazy shit. She said I just heard of some crazy shit. And then they showed proof. They the one submitted proof of him being at the hotel. And then the woman said that that woman, what's her name? What's that woman name? Bungaloing. Brianna. Brianna goes and says that she took pictures the same day of the incident. That's crazy. I really want to see what the judge gonna do on this one. I really want to see what the judge do on this. Lovely says it's not about them seeking a win. It's about to expose Diddy. Diddy. Ooh, ooh, lovely. That is interesting. That is interesting. Yeah. All right, my darlings. Good night. Good night, good people. You guys have a great night. I'm going to bed. Night, night. You finally caught up with me, and now I'm going to bed now. I'll see you guys in the morning if the Lord is willing. May the Lord watch between me and thee while we're absent one from another. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Thank you for watching the infamous Sylvia channel, where laughter and fun make up our panel. Together we build this digital spree. We appreciate you and our growing family. With mods by our side and chat flowing free in this online space. It's just you and me, we laugh until tears roll down like the rain. In this virtual world, you ease all my pains. We're a family, not just a show. Every click and comment makes us grow. Mods and chat, keeping the vibe so right. Together we shine like stars in the night. We cherish the moments, the highs and lows, from the latest gossip to stories untold. You're more than a viewer, you're part of the crew in this space of ours. It's all because of you. This digital world where emotion is shared, every post and reaction showing we care. The love is real in this virtual domain. With every sign, enjoys what we'll gain. We're a family, not just a show. Every click and comment makes us grow. Mods and chat, keeping the vibe so right. Together we shine like stars in the night. We're a family, not just a show. Every click and comment makes us grow. Mods and chat, keeping the vibe so right. Together we shine like stars in the night. This digital world where emotion is shared, every post and reaction showing we care. The love is real in this virtual domain. With every sign, enjoys what we'll gain. We're a family, not just very clear.